Welcome everyone to my impressions of playing Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness for the first time 31 years after release. After the success of Warcraft Orcs and Humans in 1994, Blizzard got to work on a sequel which released only 1 year later. This quick development time is unheard of nowadays, with most sequels releasing at least 3 to 4 years after the first. So, has the sequel improved over the first game, or was it just a quick cash grab? I'll be looking at the story, gameplay, and how it feels to play in 2026, and see if it's worth going back to play such an old game. Let's get started. Warcraft 2 starts off after the first game with the Orcs' victory and humans having fled across the sea to Lordaeron. The Orcs now building up their army to finally destroy the humans once and for all. Both factions have gotten new allies such as elves and dwarves for humans, and the Orcs gaining trolls and other races. It was great again to see familiar locations in World of Warcraft like Lordaeron and Hillsbrad, and the introduction of the new races. The Orc story I unfortunately found was nothing groundbreaking, and largely follows the overall themes of the first game, where you move through different locations and destroy the enemy. There were a few standout missions such as the Siege of Dalaran and Tomb of Sargeras, and Gul'dan betraying the player, even if it was in a cutscene. Speaking of which, I love the cutscenes in between a few missions. It really felt like a reward for the player, and you got to see a more detailed look at the world and characters. This game seemed noticeably darker than World of Warcraft, especially against the later expansions. The mission intros use quite graphic language, as well as the accompanying artwork being more violent. It feels more adult fantasy, although it still has comedic moments like the unit voice lines and being able to bomb a cute seal. After working your way through the new continent, the Orc campaign finishes with the fall of Lordaeron and the killing of the king.
Guards!
Now on to the human campaign, where we start with the Orcs having just landed near Lordaeron, and we are tasked with building up defences to stop the upcoming invasion. The mission's structure follows the Orc campaign pretty closely. Build an outpost, attack, then fight for oil. It's not bad, just repetitive. I found the Alliance story slightly more engaging as you struggle to defend against the Orcs and rescue people before the betrayal of Gul'dan allows you to push back the Orcs and secure victory. The later missions are thankfully more unique, like stopping a peasant uprising and transporting prisoners. Finally, the Alliance attack the Horde base of Blackrock Spire and destroy the Dark Portal, ending the Orc threat for now. I really enjoyed these two stories. They weren't anything mind-blowing, but were much more interesting than Warcraft 1 and had some cool moments. Now on to the gameplay. If Warcraft 1 was like driving a hatchback, slow and reliable but not sexy, Warcraft 2 is like having a super fast and smooth car. The gameplay is a lot faster than Warcraft 1, and the AI is so much better. Your army will actually go where you want them to go and attack automatically within range. They won't get stuck as much on terrain and each other, which makes it so much easier to command large armies. Melee units aren't completely useless in this game. The units look and feel more unique over the basic human and orcs in the first game, as well as having different voices that aren't as repetitive. I love all the mini interactions you can have with your troops by spam clicking on them.
You're making me seasick.
My only two gripes with the gameplay is I didn't like how long workers would hide in the main building before reappearing. It makes it more difficult to know how many workers you have and harder to select them. And the other issue is that the mission would only end after every troop and building is destroyed, which made it frustrating to complete, especially with Fog of War on. Apart from that, the game feels fantastic to play. This game got rid of the roads from Warcraft 1 where you could only build next to them. I actually didn't mind them, but they weren't overly missed. Another big change the game made was being able to build multiple town centres for resource collecting. No longer did you have to send your workers halfway across the map to gather gold, and a lot of missions begin with this mechanic where you are given an army but no base. A disappointment I had was the disappearance of no build missions. I enjoyed them in the first game, and they would have really helped with spicing up the campaign, as most of the levels are just large macro missions. Thankfully, lots of the missions have more unique scenarios and environments. Also, the introduction of ships and flying units helps make the gameplay more varied. Naval battles are fun to partake in, and loading and unloading troop transport is super simple with a few clicks. I don't know if this was a change in the remaster, but older RTS games usually have insufferable transport mechanics, which honestly can break my enjoyment of the game. I found this game to be more difficult than the first. The enemy bases felt bigger and had more defending troops. Even though the game is easier to play than Warcraft 1 with unit pathfinding and aggro easier to manage, I feel that the developers knew this and so ramped up the mission difficulty to compensate. Also, with flying and sea units, you could be stuck against a dragon with no archers. A good army composition feels much more important in this game. I really enjoyed Warcraft 2. I feel it improved over the first game in basically every way and really expanded the lore and world building. The game feels fantastic to play even now, and the changes they made in the remaster have helped it even more. I would definitely recommend this game to play if you're a fan of RTS or a fan of Warcraft. Where Warcraft 1 I feel is skippable if you read the story on a wiki, I feel this game definitely has to be experienced at least once, as it's still a great game that holds up well. Thank you for watching, and let me know if I should make a video on the expansion Beyond the Dark Portal or jump straight into Warcraft 3.